let's take just a few minutes to look at how the Stripe integration works with AuctionRunner. And so here I am in my auction. I can click right here on this little pencil to go up there, and then you can scroll down through all this, and there's a new area here at the bottom called Stripe, and it kind of goes through all the processes on how to do this. Now, the first thing you need to do, if you don't have a Stripe account, you need to go sign up for one. You can click this link and sign up. Now, note that this does take a little while, so you can't do an auction and sign up for this right away and then expect it to work. Maybe you could do it the same day, but there's things you have to put in. You have to set up accounts and things like that and verify your business and those kinds of things. So you want to get this done well in advance. I'd recommend at least a month in advance. Get all this stuff set up. If you do have just a login, you can. If you're already good, you can just do this and log in. There's a few things you kind of have to configure, but basically you can just use this. The way the system works is it uses a passphrase to encrypt your information. So there's two keys. There's what they call a publishable key and a secret key, and they're both stored on the server, but they're encrypted with this passphrase. So you shouldn't use the word passphrase, but you might want to say "we love kids" or something like that. The longer, the better. It has to be at least 10 characters long, but some kind of a phrase. And what you'll do is you'll put this on every computer. So every computer that you want to use to process payments, you will go ahead and put this passphrase in on that computer, and it's just automatically going to remember it. Now, for one time, you're going to have to enter the keys down here, your publishable key and your secret key. And so what you're going to do is there's two different kinds of keys in Stripe. What I'd recommend is as you're testing the system out to make sure it all works, you can go and get the Stripe test API keys. And so if you click on this, what's going to happen is your Stripe account's going to come up, and you will see a couple of keys here. And in this case, there's a key that's the publishable key and the secret key. And so you're going to take and copy those. And so we take and copy those keys. And what you can do is then pop back over to AuctionRunner, and you'll paste the publishable key down here, and you're going to paste the secret key over here. And once you do that, you're then going to click the Set Keys button. And that is going to set those keys. Now, my key's already set here, and that's why you see these other two buttons. You will just see the Set Keys button. Once you see that, you can now clear the keys. And once you clear the keys, it's impossible to do any transactions with AuctionRunner with your keys. So it just gets rid of all your keys. And then once your keys are set, you want to hit this Test button, which then will test to make sure that it can get the publishable key and decrypt it, and it can decrypt the key on the server side, that's the secret key, and then make a call to Stripe and have that call actually work. So that's how this piece works for the configuration. So you can do the test to make sure everything works. Now you actually want to go ahead and run some tests inside your auction before you get started, just to make sure all the payments are going to go through. And I'll show you a basic kind of way to do that. So if we go over to our balance sheet, actually, before we go to our balance sheet, there's one other thing we can look at. When you're looking at your bidders, you can actually register credit cards ahead of time. And so you can either do this from this screen right here. So if I wanted to register, let's say myself, I can come in here, and you have to put in a name and an address. Then you hit Enter Card Information. And right here, it's going to take a second to come up, but then you have an option to use the card, and you configure this screen inside of Stripe. So there's some configuration options here that you can use, but you can just go into Stripe to set all those things. They're not configured from within AuctionRunner. This is a Stripe screen. And so your card information never actually goes to AuctionRunner. The card information stays fully at Stripe. So we're not managing any card information on the AuctionRunner side. So I click Card, and then the demo card is 42s all the way across. It would be 8 42s or 16 numbers total, and then you can put in any expiration date, any CVC you want. You can put in the full name. I can just put in my name here, and then we can put in a zip code we want, and then you can just turn that off because we're not going to have people going through with this one click. And then we hit Save Card, and this will enter a card into our system that is now set up so that you can charge it later. There's no charge made to the card now. We're just setting up the ability. It's called a payment method, and the payment method is now set up, and I can clear that payment method if I want by clearing this, and that payment method goes away, or I can change it like I just did. Now what's cool is now when we go to the actual auction over here, I can go ahead and look at this balance sheet, and then I can look at this receipt for this one that I had purchased here, and I can make a payment. So I just click plus on the payments, and I decide how much the payment. Let's say I just want to pay off part of this. Let's say I want to pay off $12 of this. And I can either do a pay now or pay with saved method. So let's check the pay with saved method. So you click on that, and it'll say the payment was successful up here at the top. And you can now see that this is in here. Now, this number right here is your payment intent, and that is what you can look in Stripe to see that. So if you need to refund, you're going to see this payment intent right here, and that will show you then if you do need to refund something, you can right out of the Stripe app. So any refunds and things like that are done directly through Stripe. So if I click on the X here, it's going to say this is a Stripe payment. Do not delete until you refund at Stripe. You can click on that. It's going to take you to the page to do refunds on the Stripe side. But you have to make sure that you handle that. AuctionRunner does not handle refunds automatically. You have to go and do that on your own. And if I wanted to do a payment, let's say somebody doesn't have a card on file, I can just click Pay Now. And here I can see if I want to just pay off the whole thing. In this case, you can't change it at this point because it's the amount is set in from the other screen. I can now do this. It remembers all my things. I can put in a card, go down through all the steps, and then go ahead and just uncheck that and click Pay. And that will then take me back, and I'll have just a regular payment, and it will look like this. So successful Stripe charge, and then successful Stripe payment. So the charge is when you charge somebody's card that you already had, and it was put in the beginning on the bidder. And a payment is just when you enter a card right there and enter it that way. So that's the basic of the payments. Like I said, when you're all done, make sure you go ahead and clear out those. Go back to your auction, and if you click on the little editor, and you can come down here and just click Clear Keys, and that's going to take your keys out of the system because you really don't want to leave those in there any longer than they have to. Now, they are encrypted on our side, but again, you just want to make sure that you're keeping those as safe as possible. So I hope you enjoy using Stripe. It's a really great service, and I wish you well.